Hey guys, welcome back to Testing with Destined. Today, the third hero that I will be covering is Vlad Dracula. Draculea? Whatever. I'm gonna call him Vlad Dracula. I know it's not what it says, but that's what I'm gonna call him. He is a tactician that will be coming pretty soon, and my assumption is he's actually going to be free. Now, there's no confirmation for this, but I feel like he's going to be like a fusion of some sort, and he will be given for free, while the other ones will all be summoned. That's my guess, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, Vlad Dracula is pretty damn interesting, so let's get right into it. Starting off, he is a cultist tactician, and his stats are very interesting. He is just short of 25,000 HP, 3,700 defense, and the attack doesn't matter, which you'll see why in a second. We have 2 tile range there, physical attack, displacement, and high block. We have 19 cost. We have an attack interval of 2.4 seconds, which is pretty typical for fighter-like characters. And if we go into the skills, we can see that the damage scales off of HP. So he's the second somewhat decent DPS that scales off of HP, the other one being Malvira. Now, they're not going to do freaking Neja or Dia level numbers, but they're still going to do some damage, which is further emphasized by the rest of his kit. Continuously inflicts War Frenzy on blocked enemies. War Frenzy reduces basic attack interval by 25%. So, what this means is it's going to mess with the attack speed of the enemies hitting him, which is good. And when attacking enemies inflicted with War Frenzy, Impaling Charge and Brutal Suppression, which we'll get to in a second, will ignore 30% of defense, which is pretty cool. Going to the rest of the skills, the basic attack is 120% AoE damage up to 5 enemy targets one time. The second ability, the first passive, is when taking direct damage. So when he's getting hit, there is a 25% chance that the next basic attack will be a counter attack, dealing 130% damage 2 times to up to 7 adjacent enemy targets. So instead of just attacking back normally, he's going to be attacking twice to more enemies for more damage, which is pretty cool. And after he uses the skill, he's actually going to get Rage, which is very, very cool. Then we get to the passive, which is when blocking an enemy, increases HP by 3% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So when he's blocking 5 enemies, he's going to have 15% more HP. So he really wants to have enemies stacked on him. When he's taking damage from an enemy inflicted with War Frenzy, restores HP by 3%. So not only all of those things, he's also going to heal when he gets hit. Moving on to the ultimate, this is 600 cost, can choose and charge to an unoccupied ground tile within 3 tiles, as you can see in this video up here. It deals 500% AoE damage to up to 7 enemies in its path. If cast in place, it deals 360% AoE damage to up to 10 enemy targets within 2 tiles. After casting, increases the hero's block by 2 for 15 seconds, which is huge. It gets him up to 6 block, which we'll look at in a second, for 15 seconds, and deals up to 30% increased damage and takes up to 30% reduced damage based on the number of enemy units within 2 tiles. He caps out at 5 units. He's going to do more damage and take less damage. So his kit is all about dealing damage and reducing damage. Then we go to the bond skill, which is with Lady Mina, who is a must pull purely for the bond skills and the fact that she's unlimited. You could check out my video on her if you would like, if you haven't seen it already. But anyways, if you obtain a hero Lady Mina to unlock the following bonus effect, the ultimate pulls up to 5 enemies on its path to the destination when he attacks through. And when the ultimate is cast when he's in place, he's going to stun all targets for 1 second, which is pretty cool. So That's not all of his kit. We have Awakenings. The A1 reduces basic attack interval by 5% for each enemy within 2 tiles inflicted with War Frenzy, up to a 25% decrease. So instead of it being 25%, it's actually going to be 50%, which is very cool. Then we have extra HP, which is more damage and more survivability. The A3, each trigger of Brutal Suppression increases the damage of the next one by 10%. If it is triggered within 5 seconds, up to 30%, just stacking damage on the counterattacks. A4 is penetration increase, and the A5 additionally restores 2% HP to the hero for every one enemy target attacked by Brutal Suppression. So when he counterattacks, he's gonna heal. When he gets hit, he's gonna heal, which is very cool. Now, before I go over the build, I would just like to plug, hey, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is to like the video and subscribe. These videos are a lot of work. It is currently now 9:30 a.m. and I still have another hero to go. So if you wanna support the channel and get more videos like this, it's the best way to do it. Anyways, how is he built? Well, he has his own exclusive artifact. Every single one does, and this is a doozy. So not only does he have 3 block, which you can see right here, which is pretty good, he also has an exclusive which increases his max HP by 25%, which is very nice. And when entering combat, he increases his block +1, so that's going to get him 4 block as if he was a tank with a bastion ring. Then he's also going to get 2 block on his ultimate, up to a total of 6, which puts him right below Malvira and Gon as tied for one of the highest block units in the game. Now, after a counterattack is triggered, it also applies War Frenzy to the caster for 2 seconds, which is cool. Then, for the rest of the build, we are actually running HP. So this is a set that gives us 20% more max HP. We also are going for crit rate, we're going for attack speed, and crit damage, which I can't really make much of. This guy's hard to build. You can't really build him to his max potential unless you specifically have a lot of pieces. We're going to be dealing with decent amount of crit rate, attack speed, and HP, but like no crit damage. So you could definitely get stronger, but even then, this build is pretty hard to make, just because of how difficult this sort of thing is. Anyway, that's the kit. Let's get into the content. The first thing on the agenda that I want to do is Malware Calls. Now, if you know anything about Malware Calls, characters like Talon are really good, Malvira are really good, just because tanking is not the most important. You don't need a raw-ass tank, but you do need damage. So that's where we're going to have the damage-dealing Tactician tank. He's going to be able to move around all over the place and hopefully do pretty well. So here we're going to do Valara on the bottom. We're going to do Narissa as well. Then we are going to do Cyrus, as is normal. Then at the top, we're going to do our Vlad, who has 4 block, 2 more when in his ult. And then we can also move Maridon up. I should have given Maridon the mark. I kind of forgot, but that's okay. We're going to move him up using the triple Tactician comp the way that was intended for sure. Here we're going to do our Ezreath. And we're just kind of going to wait for the top guys to come out as they are right now. We could do our Neja swap. And now we can kind of look at this. So we're just going to click it. He's going to go out and hit. He's going to do very, very low damage, for being honest. And they're going to die. Well, he does damage, right? Well, it's not a lot, unfortunately. Well, we're going to wait until the next one comes out and then see if anything changes with the next wave. So here, I'm actually going to sell Ezreath. And we're going to see how well Vlad does. Bam. Procced. And does 0 damage. Now, the last thing I do want to try out is going to be his move. His move pull, which is cool, but we have to see how well it actually performs. So we're going to wait for the next group to come by. We can sell Neja just so we have some more room. and we could wait for the thing to be up. Now, let's say I want to move him, right? I can move him anywhere here. Let's say I want to move him here. Well, is he going to pull him? And he barely pulls them. That's not great. So he's supposed to pull him with him, but he really doesn't. Which is a little lame, if I'm being completely honest. That's like his main gimmick. His main gimmick is, ooh, I pull him. But he doesn't pull him very well. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to go like this, and we're going to see. Bam. And it barely pulls him. Like, I really thought it would be like Malvira, but it really doesn't feel like that's the case. Anyways, now that he's getting hit, he's actually going to be counterattacking. And he actually makes them attack faster, which is not good. So they are hitting him more often. He's getting healed so many times, though. That is definitely a cool niche, though. The fact that every time he gets hit, he does heal a little bit more every single time. Click his ult. Doesn't look like he stuns. I feel like he's bugged, not gonna lie. But anyways, he's gonna just chill, healing a ton. And that's kind of all he does. He doesn't do a lot of damage, even though the counterattacking is a gimmick. And the fact that he makes your opponents literally attack more often, just so he can not attack with the counterattack. Like, what is even happening here, man? I don't understand. Yeah, like, that is an experience. Yep. Well, this is kind of anticlimactic, but I can't really think of anywhere else he would be good. Like, the thing is, this is a classic problem with certain heroes in this game. He's trying to be too many different things. Damage scales off of HP, as you saw, his damage is ass. So, clearly that doesn't matter. But, what does his kit say? Well, his kit says he does more damage. His kit says that he counterattacks to do damage. His kit says that he ignores 30% of the target's defense. But what happens when his damage is lacking? Well, surprise, surprise, half of his kit, instead of trying to support his tankiness, which would have been interesting having a moving tank that only focused on being a tank, most of his kit is built around him just dealing damage, as he actively doesn't deal damage. So he's not tanky and he doesn't do damage. I mean, he literally does a detriment with War Frenzy, where he makes your opponents attack faster so he can take more damage and reduce the amount of healing your other allies get because they have to heal him, obviously. Also, he can counterattack and hit him with a pool noodle over and over and over again. Like, there's one area I think he'll be really good. Genuinely, I think he'll be decent. Is Tank Codex. Because not only does he have 6 block in his ult, he can also move around. So you can put him at the front at the beginning to try to take up some of the block. You know how Tank Codex is. And then later on, if you're struggling, you can move him back. And move him back. And that would be good. Then again, he's at risk of dying even more because they attack more often. But he also heals off of being hit, so it should be fine. It's complicated, man. Basically, I think he is actually a hero I can't find a place for. I keep thinking, like, could AoE work? Well, he doesn't do enough damage. Could he work in an area like Matrix? Well, he does physical, and he does not enough damage. I mean, if there's any area you guys think he might be decent in, please let me know. But it's just like, he does no damage, he doesn't tank very well. I don't think he's great, and honestly, I'm not gonna waste my time testing him. I know this is my job or whatever, but like, you guys saw that, right? I tried him in 1 or 2 other areas. He just is so mediocre. And I think he's definitively bugged, because this bond skill is supposed to pull up to 5 enemies on its path to the destination during its charge. And it doesn't even do it properly. You saw I went 2 tiles, which should have brought it with me, and I went past them and they leaked. right? So he doesn't even work. He's bugged. I'm gonna report this as a bug that needs to be fixed, and say that him and another hero need to be buffed because why are they being released like this? Unfortunately. So that's Vlad Dracula. Yeah, that's a hero. If he's free, it's cool. If he's not, I would skip him. Anyways, that was the way. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all later. And yeah.